Hello and welcome back everybody to Douchebag Simulator, also named Everlasting Summer. I do that also called or also named joke way too often, but I don't care, because this time it's so true. So let's see what he has to say to his defense, probably nothing really worth listening to. I stood still, hesitating. Of course, such an outcome was to be expected, but now I had absolutely no idea of what to do, or how to comfort her. And besides, I had gone back to the camp intentionally, and I had agreed to participate in that show. But it just got worse. As well as that, I was tired. Tired unto death. At that moment I wished it would all just cease to exist. I just wanted to close my eyes and appear elsewhere. Preferably in a quiet, peaceful place. But the sight of the sobbing Uljana obliged me to take action. I walked up to her and sat down on the ground. Well, what were you expecting anyway? I began philosophically. It was sure to end up this way. Really, it's not bad that they laughed about her. It's really the only thing bad is that they laughed only about her while you were part of the deal, man. You're to blame for everything. You! Uljana shouted in tears. So what would have changed if I had sprung out with you back there? Wow. We both would have been laughed at, that is all. Wow. You always act this way. Always. Her sobbing has become louder, and then she suddenly rushed at me and started pounding on my chest with her fists. The fist hits were not hard. It was more likely an attempt to take out the despair that had gripped Uljana than a real wish to beat me up. Calm down already, I said firmly. She stopped crying for a second and hugged me. Maybe nothing would have changed, but it would have been more comfortable for me if we went together. I didn't know what to say, so I just patted her on the head. You forgive him? I'd never forgive that dude. I probably would at some point, but not directly. That was really a dick move. Can I stay like this for a bit longer? Yes. At that time, she didn't seem like a dangerously explosive nuclear reactor in the form of a little girl. It was just like a little sister of mine who'd messed things up. You messed up! I wasn't mad at her at all, on the contrary. It seemed that I too was beginning to care about the failure of the ghost play acting. Yeah, because... What the hell is going on here? I am in a parallel universe. What the fuck? It's alright. We'll scare them properly next time. Yeah. Well, at least this time no panty shot. Although I don't believe skirts work this way. I don't know for how much longer we sat in silence. Uljana stopped crying, and I didn't want to disturb her, as she just had calmed down. But I also had absolutely no desire to stay in the forest overnight. Hey, let's go back to the camp. I shook her shoulder gently, but there was no answer. Uljana had fallen asleep. Hey! I shook her harder. No effect. At that moment I wanted to cry. Why does this always happen to me? Why do I get caught up in these foolish situations? Always and everywhere. Even having suddenly appeared in a weird pioneer camp in the middle of nowhere, I don't get to become a subject in an experiment, a victim of a sick cosmic mind, or a participant in an intergalactic war on the side of a group of suicide-prone pacifists, like a regular hero of science fiction. You're also no hero, and I have read that line once, I'm pretty sure. No, instead I have to spend a night in the forest with a little girl in my arms who is muffled in a bedsheet, which we don't see by the way. Next time I'd rather have the most monstrous experience. I stood up and put the slapping Uljana on my back. Well, this time you could stand up. Maybe there was a way to wake her up, but firstly, I didn't want to, and secondly, one more burden or one less. At that point it made no difference. It's good that she's not heavy. At the square I stopped, put Uljana on a bench and threw myself down beside her, totally exhausted. Even a little girl is hard to carry for too long. Depends on how much she's weighing, I guess. The stars in the sky were shining brightly, but you're a wimp, Semyon. Perhaps they give the light not only to me and this camp, but also shine in the city where I was born, where my old home is. It was as if a pain settled in my chest. This seems familiar. I think this is from the... Isn't this from the beach scene with Slavia? I envisioned my old flat clearly, and a detestable burning started to make its way from my stomach to my throat. No, it was not wistfulness. More like a sad reminiscence. Yeah, that is something from the Slavia route. Probably not from the beach, but from the infirmary, when she was lying down there and stuff. And he was thinking. Yeah, that must be it. Yeah. He felt more alive. Okay, yeah, okay. And now I wasn't really sure if I wanted to get back. Only one question still ate at me. How and why I ended up here. It flared up yet again in my mind. I haven't spent much time seeking answers, or even just thinking about my situation lately. My thoughts were occupied with everyday, routine affairs. And now, in order to break away and be able to wish to stay here for good, I need to understand the nature of this place. It's just that even a nightingale in a golden cage has a right to know how and by whose will he got in there. And after that, to make the choice whether to stay or not. Yeah, that is definitely. I don't know how much longer I would have been devoted to existential thoughts, but Uljana's loud snoring brought me back to reality. So small, but she snores so loudly. That has nothing to do with height, really. I sighed, put Uljana on my back again, and headed to her cabin. I had no desire to explain everything to Elisa, so I just put the sleeping Uljana on the porch, knocked at the door, and left quickly. You're a gentleman, I have to say. Oh, you are so bad. The story is interesting though, but I hate Semyon in this route. I hate him. He is disgusting in this route. Ugh. Ugh. Really. It's like I really need, I have a deep feeling that I actually need to say a German word. Pfui. He is really pfui. Blah. Okay, blah is not German, that is international, but pfui. He's so disgusting. I approached Olga's cabin with mixed feelings. On the one hand, I had done what I intended to do. I had comforted and entertained Uljana. On the other hand, I made her cry and betrayed her, and all in all, I was pretty much a dick to her all the time. The 2 crumpled bedsheets in my hands looked more like rags left over from some worn-out straitjacket. Hopefully he learns this. I'm pretty sure he learns this in the next 2 days, that he was a dick. And he went in. Semyon! Olga was sitting at the desk, and it seemed she had been waiting for me. Do you want to explain something to me? Well, just don't scold her again. It's my fault. Just like that, I became a hero to my own surprise. Pfui! My tongue acted faster than my thoughts. Perhaps some of my best traits, which even I wasn't aware of, have shown themselves. Humanity as opposed to common sense. Pfui. Really? Having started this, I chose to stick to my decision. At least you're doing that. Well, it was me who got the bedsheets, and I was standing behind a tree back then. Behind what tree? The camp leader looked at me in astonishment. So what did you need bedsheets for? I realized my mistake. So you're not talking about the forest thing? Semyon, I don't understand you. I wanted to know where you disappeared to so mysteriously during the hike. But now I would be interested in listening to your bedsheet story. But it was impossible that she and all the others hadn't seen Uljana's performance. The pioneers laughing out loud couldn't have been only my imagination. Olga, I'm serious. Didn't you see someone in a bedsheet spring out at you recently? So it was you? She gave me a close look. No, it wasn't me. Couldn't she tell just from my height? But you're holding the bedsheets? Yes. I couldn't understand if she was playing me for a fool, or she really didn't know what this was all about. Ah, that's strange. Olga, let's act like this conversation never happened. I'm too tired for today. Alright, go to bed. To my surprise, she readily agreed. Ah, that's strange. That's really strange. Of course, I was astonished by such a reaction, but I decided to use the moment. I wrapped the blanket around myself and turned to face the wall. But I couldn't sleep. There were no thoughts. My head was aching, but I still couldn't manage to fall asleep. I rolled to the other side, and images of the day started to flash before my eyes. I shut my eyes tight to drive them away, but it didn't work. Suddenly I heard a knocking at the window. Olga seemed to be asleep. I dressed myself and walked outside. Uljana was standing before me with a tricky smile.
How did you manage to carry me to the cabin? Wasn't it hard?
Not really. What have you come for? I couldn't sleep, but at the moment bed seemed to be the only place where I could reside with no suffering, which is why Uljana's sudden visit didn't please me at all.
How was she? Did you get scolded?
No, I avoided it somehow.
That's great then. I always get lucky.
That is for sure. My eyes began closing despite my will. It seems that slumber has finally come up on me.
Look, I'm very tired. This won't take long. Close your eyes, oh god.
It was the easiest thing to do, and I didn't even want to know what she needed it for. Maybe that way she would leave me alone sooner. I closed my eyes. Yeah. Knew it. I mean, everybody knew it. And in that moment I felt a brief kiss. My eyes opened by themselves, but Uljana was already running away, waving a hand to me. I stood still, benumbed, and I couldn't even manage to shout anything after her. I don't know for how long I stood like that, but eventually the night chill cleared my stupor. I shivered and went back to bed. This time I didn't want to sleep. I wanted to think it all through, but my eyes, which had begun to close as I was standing before Uljana, seemed to issue a command to the rest of the body, and I fell asleep before I realized what happened. I wonder how they are going to... Semyon knows that she is... Hey, Uljana. Semyon knows that she is way younger than him. And of course he doesn't know that she is older in the real world. So I wonder how they are going to resolve that. We'll see. I can't say that my morning was good. Instead I woke up absolutely broken. And you didn't even drink the vodka of electronic. The room was filled with the bright sunlight. Outside the windows birds were light-heartedly chirping. I reluctantly dragged myself into a sitting position and stretched. I slowly started to recall the events of the previous day. A trip, a silly ghost game, Uljana falling asleep, and... Oui, ça. La Française Semyon et la best Semyon. A kiss. I blushed immediately. It was so surprising that I'd been knocked out of reality for a while. The main problem is, how should I treat her now? At first glance, nothing happened, but... Besides, she's the least girl in the whole camp from which one would expect such actions. She seemed to me at best to be a little sister, nothing more. But for her, apparently, was more than a big brother. Okay, they're really going that way. Interesting. Interesting. Though perhaps I just imagined all that, and there was no hidden meaning, deep motives, or allusions to far-reaching conclusions in this kiss. Just an expression of gratitude? Uljana is definitely capable of extraordinary deeds, and could easily turn simple things into complicated ones. Finally, I decided to put off the matter till the time I could meet her face to face. By the way, you're the shittiest big brother in the whole world. The clock showed 11. Meaning Olga didn't wake up and they did not wake me up for breakfast. However, I shouldn't worry. There wasn't much time left till lunch. I took my bag of washing accessories and went to do my water procedures. Hopefully you don't get naked this time. I didn't meet anybody on the way. Probably all the pioneers are busy with their own things. The place near the basins was deserted too. Just 5 minutes later, I again stood in front of the camp leader's cabin, thinking of what to do next. Nothing worthwhile had come to my head. I sat in the deck chair and possibly could have stayed there until lunch, but I was drawn from my trance by a familiar voice. Hi! I looked up and saw Slavia, who was smiling at me sweetly. Hi! You overslept again? Seemed like it. That's no good. Perhaps. And where are you going? Actually, I was not really interested in Slavia's agenda for today, but I wanted to keep the conversation going. Well, I've got some things to do. I see. Silence followed. She was about to leave when suddenly I said, Mind sitting with me for a while? Sure, why not? Slavia sat nearby. Huh. Something's worrying you, isn't it? No, why do you think so? I can read it on your face. She laughed softly. Not really. I like you, wise and cool Slavia. You're way better than save me, hero Semyon, Slavia. But also make out with me, Semyon, Slavia. That girl was strange. Although probably Slavia was right, something really was worrying me. Obviously, I worried about last night's events. Listen, do you have any little brothers or sisters?
I do.
And how do you get along?
Pretty well.
She smiled wildly.
And you?
No, I don't, I said after a short pause.
So why are you asking?
I don't know, just...
Do you always understand them?
I try to. Sometimes I just cannot make out what children want. Suddenly I stopped for a moment. Slavia doesn't know that I'm actually much older than I look. To her, I'm still a child myself. Those who are younger.
Why?
Well, I cannot always understand the motivations of their actions. They often behave illogically.
Weren't you as old as them some time ago?
She looked at me with surprise. Of course I was. That moment it seemed to me that it had been a very long time ago. And when I looked at Uljana, that time turned into a gulf of years.
Well, think of yourself at that time.
I was different. At least it seemed like that to me.
If so, good for you.
See, you're a dick, Semyon. Even Slavia knows it. And you? Did you also do stupid things?
It depends on what age we are talking about.
Well, let's say the age of 14, for instance.
Well, different things were happening,
she said thoughtfully. Okay, that is nice, but it still doesn't make anything clear.
Maybe that's the way it should be.
Maybe. Slavia stood up, wished me goodbye and left. I closed my eyes and fell asleep. Bye-bye, wise Slavia. The sound of the "It's Not a Bell" calling the pioneers for lunch woke me up. Although the sound was quiet and was coming from far away, my body worked like a clockwork automaton, and in due time I was standing near the door of the canteen. And that's where I met Uljana.
Hi there.
Huh? Yeah?
I already ate.
She laughed brightly and ran away. I didn't stop her. After all, I had nothing to say to her. Or maybe Uljana is representing... No, I'm speculating way too much this time. I'm always talking. Let's experience. I need to learn to experience. I took a meal and was already heading to my favorite place in the corner, when suddenly someone grabbed me by the hand. Sit down right here. Alice's voice sounded menacing, but at the same time somehow pleading. What happened? I've got something to discuss with you, she said with a slightly softer tone. Okay. I sat down next to her. So, what's the subject? You were there yesterday, when she played that dumb prank with the bedsheet. It was pointless to lie to Elisa. Yeah, I was there. That is... She laughed out loud. Why on earth did you do that? Elisa instantly became serious and gave me a level look. Why don't you ask her? No, I'm asking you now, so you have to talk. I don't know, I rasped. Well, you better tell me. Why didn't the camp leader react? How should she react? I think you know. I looked at her skeptically. Well, she did not realize who it was. Well, I must admit, Olga's deductive abilities leave much to be desired. That is true. And then, it was you who brought her back last night. Nope, Shakespearean elves did that, I said mockingly. What's the problem with that? No problem at all. Elisa started her place and started to eat with concentration. Also, she ran off to somewhere during the night and came back in that happy mood. And? Don't you know anything about that? Even if I do, why do you care? She gave me an intense gaze. Well, I do care. I would have never thought that she could be concerned about someone besides herself. Nothing like that happened, if you'd like to know. No, it's not about that, Elisa replied shortly without looking at me. Probably it was a bad idea to bring up this subject. Probably. By the way, what's that like that? What do you mean? What you just said. What's that I just said? I tried to joke around to confuse her. Hey, listen to me. I'm watching you. Oh, I'm so scared. I would be scared. She knows how to make bombs. I said roughly, took my tray and left the table. And I don't think you're as stable as fake Lenin Genderman. I definitely wasn't afraid of Elisa's words, even though they sounded like a threat. In fact, I was more interested by her concern for Uljana. Of all the local inhabitants, she was surely the last one you would expect to worry about another person. I walked out of the canteen and into a real furnace. The sun blazed so ruthlessly that nobody could stay under his scorching rays. It was time to find some cool and shady place? What? It was time to find some cool and shady place, I guess. And the beach seemed like the best place for this. Oddly enough, the beach was not crowded. Perhaps most of the pioneers were scared of the scorching heat. Or maybe they just decided to take a nap after lunch. I didn't bring my swimming trunks, so I just sat under an umbrella and began to watch the swimmers. There was no one I knew, and it was better that way, as I had an opportunity to sit quietly and think. 5.5 days have already passed since my arrival, and what has changed? There were a couple of unexplained but completely harmless events, but all in all, it was just a regular pioneer camp. Except for that maniac attacking you, you forgot that? Okay. And this was making me even more frightened. What's going to happen next? Another day? Another week? And what's going to happen after the session is over? I've got nowhere to return to. Maybe in this time I hadn't been born yet. Or even worse. After thinking all of this over for a few minutes, I went back to yesterday evening. Strange, but I worried it much more than before. On the one hand, I wanted to say to make the situation clear, but on the other hand, I avoided any meeting with Uljana by all means, afraid of making a fool of myself with the wrong word or gesture. Maybe this is a representation for first love. I have to say it. Maybe, it's still possible that my initial idea is true, that it's about him refusing her, or my second idea is true, that it's about him realizing that she is actually not a child anymore or something. Or this third idea, it's just in general about first love or something. Just in general, a metaphor for first love. Because all of this seems very first love-ish, you know. The friend who talks to you, the bad talk, you know. The kiss on the cheek. This is all very, very schoolish, you know what I mean? Oh, we'll see. I closed my eyes and dozed off for a while. And in this version, there's also Lena, probably having a serious talk with me. When I woke up, I saw Lena by my side. How long have you been sitting here? I asked in surprise. Not too long. Strange that she did not wake me up. Did something happen? I don't know why, but my sixth sense was telling me she's eager to say something, but doesn't dare. No. What about you? Neither. Are you sure? Of course. I smiled. And what do you want to talk about? Why would you think I want to talk? It seems like it. Not really. A long silence ensued. Do you have any little brothers or sisters? No. What about you? I don't. So why would you ask that? Sometimes I think that I don't understand children at all. Me too. Lena's face didn't express anything. But it's probably got to be like that. What do you mean? How should I treat them then? Treat them the way you think it is right. Well, that is the whole idea. I don't know what is right and what is wrong. The more you think about it, the more you'll regret the mistake. Well, that is true, but it doesn't help. I was somewhat surprised by such profound words from Lena. Of course, she said all that with a trace of shyness or modesty, and without inappropriate openness, but still. You mean that I should follow the first idea I get off the top of my head? I laughed. Whoops. Sorry. As the saying goes, your first thought is the right one. That's more than often true. Do you believe that? I don't know. We sat there for some time, then she stood up. Well, I've got to go. Thanks for the conversation. Don't mention it. Lena smiled faintly. I laid down and stared at the burning sun. I have the feeling, if there is not more to all the girls, there's probably more to Lena. Probably. I don't know that, but you know, she had the serious talk here, she had the serious talk at Slavia's route. Seems kinda strange. Just saying. I lay down and stared at the burning sun. First thought is the right, huh? What if my first thought was to kiss her back? Yeah, that is a sentence straight out of a soap opera. Sorry, I just caught me a bit by surprise. By the way, what was the first thought that came to me at the time? I tried painfully hard to remember, but nothing worked. Not even scraps of thoughts surfaced my brain. You were really tired, I have to give you that. However, in that situation, I could only follow Lena's advice, since it all happened so suddenly. So, you think it was the right decision to not kiss her back? Interesting, I wonder where this goes. I really wonder where this goes. This one really got me hooked, I have to say that at least. Even though Semyon is a dick. The sun was setting slowly, so I rose and went towards the canteen, as my stomach told me that even the participants in such a fantastic story should have regular meals. Somebody called to me at the square. It was electronic. He ran up to me, caught his breath and said, "Semyon." "Yeah, that's probably me." "Take it." He handed me some kind of key. "What is this?" "It's the key to our clubhouse." "And why would I want it?" "Olga asked me to, considering that I will not be returning there today." "So give it to Shurik. He has his own business, so take it yourself." "I can't." "Why not?" "Listen, just take it." "Why would I need it? What am I going to do with it?" "You'll give it back to me later." "Listen." "Well, I have to go." Yeah, this is the parallel universe shit. The puppeteer who plays all this shit in Semyon's poor little world. Well, what can you do? He shoved the key into my hand and ran. No matter how you look at it, he is definitely strange. However, I didn't pay significant attention to this event and just put the key in my pocket. Might be important in the future. I got to the canteen even before dinner. Fortunately, it was already open, but no food was being served. I took my favorite seat in the farthest corner and concentrated on playing with a toothpick. Soon I got the feeling that someone was standing next to me. I raised my eyes and spotted Olga. We just stared at each other for some time. "Do you need something?" Finally, I broke the silence. "You know, Semyon, sure, I understand everything, but..." "What?" I asked, surprised. "Did you think I didn't notice your absence last night?" Absence is quite an overstatement. I'd rather say I just went out for a moment. "Well, so what?" "What is the matter?" I thought that this was nothing too, but I was determined to check. Oh, that is not so good. The camp leader's expression was increasingly heading towards a frown. "So, have you checked?" I still couldn't understand what she was up to. Because you're stupid. Everyone knows it." "Yeah, I checked. And you know what? For a two-pioneer, it's just unacceptable. It's shameful, it's disgraceful, especially with her." She flushed red with exertion. "I don't even want to hear your pitiful excuses." A vague idea of what she was talking about dawned on me. "So, what happened? Would you care to explain?" "And now you've got the nerve to play innocent. You! With Uljana!" Now it all became crystal clear, because you're stupid. "I've got two things to tell you. First," I started getting steamed up, "nothing of that sort happened there. And I'm the last one who has any relation to the situation." "And you think that..." "Second," I rudely interrupted her. "Who told you that?" In fact, the answer was obvious. Uljana would not do that. And if she decided to once again play a trick on me, she would have done it much earlier. From the time spent here, I'd begun to understand her well. That leaves only one possible candidate. Yes, Alisa, of course. Why does it matter? No, it does. Would you care to explain your behavior then? Olga seemed to be a little taken aback by my vehemence. There is nothing to explain. I got quickly up and headed to the exit of the canteen. Semyon, wait! I heard the camp leader's squeak prattle behind me. If you act deceivably with her, then she is not that confident. That is true. That is actually, I like that. It is often a character trait of angry people. I have that I myself have that a little bit. I mean, sometimes I get really steamed up, but I get really steamed down fast again, you know? Like, I'm angry very fast and I'm down very fast. And that, well, it's not the best character trait, let's put it like this. So now I have to get things straight with Alisa. When her pranks hadn't concerned me, only concerned me indirectly, I could bear it. Just thinking about it, I had even started to consider her not such a bad person. I don't think it was Alisa though. It wasn't probably Alisa. I mean, in real life I would suspect Alisa. But out of game convenience, I don't think it is Alisa. It's just, I think... No, I don't think... Well, we'll see. I'm at Slavia at the square. Do you know where Alisa is? Yes, I do. What's the matter? Just tell me. My words sounded obviously rough, but it seems that she didn't pay it any attention. She's at the music club. Slavia was right, and I met Alisa near the music club. However, she was accompanied by Miku. Mind explaining yourself? I didn't waste time on pleasantries. No. What makes you think so? Alisa gave me a cute smile. Oh, Semyon, hi. Nice to meet... Nice that you're here too. Maybe then the three of us can play something. I have a new song, you know, and it is so funny. I'm sure you'll like it, I promise. Or we can choose something old. Miku interrupted the conversation. Okay. Could you... What? She looked at me with the smile of an uncomprehending child. From that moment I understood what exactly she had in her mind. Little rabbits, teddy bears, pussycats, but no sign of intelligence. You're a dick. I need to talk to Alisa. I said in a tone that brooked no disagreement. Okay, maybe later. It looked like she was upset, though I didn't care. So, I don't understand what you mean, Alisa said, offended. And anyway, I have to go. She turned around and got ready to leave. Grab her arm roughly? On the one hand, like, this Semyon here, this route, is such a dick. Such an unbelievably dick. That I put nothing behind him, you know? I imagine him doing everything. But who in the world would grab her arm roughly? Like, for real? I mean, the situation is serious and all. But still, grab her arm roughly? Wow. I mean, I think it won't help if he tries to stop her verbally, but still, that is not a thing you do, you know? Hey, not so fast. She stopped and turned to me. I'm not here to kill you. My words sounded like a joke, but Alisa flinched. Who told the camp leader that Uljana came to me at night? I don't know. She pleaded piteously. We discussed it this morning, didn't we? She said nothing, but continued to look at me with fear in her eyes. And most importantly, what's the purpose of telling 1,000 lies? I really don't know what you're talking about, yeah. Her eyes filled with tears. Suddenly I felt as if I'd been struck by lightning. But if she isn't guilty, why did I immediately think of her? Anyone else could easily have seen us at night. You never know. Even Uljana herself could tell anyone. Are you sure? Are you sure? I asked harshly. Yes. I thought for a second, and this time was just enough for Alisa to escape. Now the only true solution is to talk to Olga again. Hopefully this wasn't the wrong decision. I don't really know. This... I think a lot in the Uljana route is by chance. Lots of stuff is by chance, and this also seemed rather like a chance decision. I mean, because he was a dick all the time, and maybe being a dick is the right decision. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I found her on the canteen porch. By that time, the sun had nearly disappeared behind the horizon. You came back after all, she began. Olga, could you tell me honestly, who told you about it? I've just spoken to Alisa, it's not her. Uljana wouldn't do it herself, so who? Maybe she looked out of the window? In fact, I myself didn't realize why I needed to know this. Initially, I was just mad at Alisa, but now... Well... She hesitated. Some strange girl. But this still doesn't... A strange girl? Well, yes, not from our camp, it seemed. Oh, the cat girl gets into the real world, probably. Why did she tell you about this? How should I know? Olga, but this is... I took a deep breath and turned away. Just why does she have to obviously lie? Although maybe she's trying to protect somebody. Let's say... Damn, I cannot even imagine. Alright, I said quietly and walked briskly away from the canteen. I had absolutely no desire to continue listening to Olga's stupid lies. I was so-called camp leader. I walked aimlessly, completely lost in thought. Are you on guard duty? I heard a cheerful voice from behind. It was Uljana. Nothing special, just... Seems like there was no chance of finding out who Olga's informer was, and yesterday's incident was hushed up somehow, so I decided not to think about it. What do you have planned for the evening? Nothing, I guess. After all my frantic attempts to uncover the truth, I felt some inexplicable guilt before Lisa and Uljana. What exactly the guilt before Uljana was about was completely unclear though. Because you're a dick. I mean, I'm probably have said that like 1,000 times now, but you're an asshole. And I have a suggestion. What is it? Well, we'll find that out next time because we're already 36 minutes in. So, thank you everybody for watching. Come back for the next part, it will probably be the final one. And I'll see you then. Most probably, at least. Bye bye!